This is Murphy Daly, AV veteran, author, and one of the crew members in the AV Life. You are joining us this episode.
And I'm your host, Tim Van Wert. Yes, there's only me and Murphy. And also, we do have a guest with us tonight. You are watching and listening to us, and this is the AV Life. We also now, as I'm going to lead this off, we now have an Instagram, and the latest edition, we are now on TikTok. So I did release a TikTok video right before this. It's not really anything crazy, but I figured I'd start with that. And then we are officially out there. I'm not quite Joe Way level yet with my TikTok videos, but we'll get there because I'm trying to learn what it takes to be a TikToker. So if there's any hints from anybody out there, I am way open to that. So how are we doing tonight, Murphy?
I'm doing so good. I'm glad to be here. I'm feeling jazzed up, vibed, and we got some good things to talk about. I'm excited to.
Oh yeah, this fire. So this is supposed to be the firing range episode, and it will be. Pew pew. We unfortunately we seem to have most of our crew is being impacted by some travel inconveniences everywhere. So we hope everyone stays safe and does what they need to get home safe and sound. We do have a special guest with us, David Pequeno. How are you, David?
I'm doing well. I'm back. It's been a while since I've been on the show, so I'm excited. I see the crew has been shanghaied tonight, so hopefully I can do justice and represent the Midwest for Renee tonight. So
yes, yeah, I'm sure you're gonna do great, and I know Renee is has 100% faith in you, so I'm sure she does on that. And so yeah, I mean you're fast approaching Will DeWitt status for most guest appearances on the AV Life. So you're definitely ranking there now, David. So glad you're back with us.
I'm hitting the John Goodman level, like on SNL hosting gigs.
There you go.
I'm getting there.
You're getting there. Yes. So all right. So Murphy, I know. So we're gonna before we get into the firing range stuff. We would be amiss without doing the PM minute, and we are going to take a quick minute on this so we can give all this fun information to talk about. So we will give this a PM minute, and then we're going to get it right into our hot topics for this month. So take it away, Murphy.
Okay, I've got a little bit of personal input, personal experience to share. It doesn't have to be perfect. You just have to start. And I'm not going to say that is the best advice, but it is definitely something I use on a regular basis. That I may not know what to do, but if I start and I keep going, it'll get to the part where it's done. And I'm not saying like boy, I would love to know what to do. And I'd love that if I sat down and thought about it and came up with a good plan, that I could then execute a good plan. But my habit is just start. And it's been pretty good. So if you have a better idea, use it. But if you don't have any ideas, just start.
I like that. It's kind of along the lines of, having, what is it? The best journeys start with a single step, or all journeys start with a single step, whatever that line is.
Yep. Well, and that's a good quote.
There you go. Yes. It's like, you need to take that step, leap of faith. There you go.
Start leaping, it's served
or baby
me well.
step or
one of my early jobs, I learned I went to a new campus, and I still have a rather poor sense of direction. And this was this huge campus, and I didn't know where I was supposed to go, but I had to get a whole bunch of stuff done all over that campus all the time. And I'm like, I don't know where all the places I'm supposed to go are, but I'm going to start. And the faster I go, the faster I'll get there, the faster I'll get lost. But if I keep going, I'll fast find it. I'll go through all the places it could be and get there. and it worked out. Although I got a lot of exercise.
Yeah, I'm definitely one of those, like, even though it may not be like the most direct route, I will go take every little side step that needs to get there. But and the long legs help, but physically, literally or figuratively, it's always a journey for me, no matter what.
There you
But
go. Okay, there's the second step. The subtitle on this: wear comfortable shoes.
Wear comfortable. Yes, it's like Infocom. Like, make sure you wear comfortable shoes.
Yeah. Take a step, whatever steps you got to take. Wear comfortable shoes.
Yep, exactly. Get your Dr. Scholl's if you need to.
Is that your habit, David? Are you a just barge ahead with your forehead kind of guy, or?
Well, it depends, because like if I get too much in my head, I overthink things a lot, and if I just go for it, I'm pretty loosey goosey with the flow of things. So I'm a little more extroverted than I used to be, but when I first started in sales, I was very introverted, and I used to work with this guy. His name was Sam Hijazi, and he was just very extroverted, and he would just go to all everybody's booth at the trade show. And this guy, he would just ask people questions, and he was just very forward. And I was like, why do you do that? And he's like, well, the worst thing someone could say to you is no. And I'm like, yeah, I guess that's a good way of looking at it. And that's actually helped me a lot in my life, So sometimes gotten me into trouble, but most of the time it's pretty good to just jump right in instead of hesitate and then be like, oh, what if,
Well,
Yeah.
see, yeah.
It's funny.
I know.
Yeah, it's funny because I actually, the other day, I was in the car with my wife and son, and I was mentioning that I found a new feature on my car that I hadn't realized, because my car is only 3 or 4 months old, so I don't usually read the manual. So I'm the one that likes to play with the buttons. So I just literally jump in and I start playing with different things, and I discovered this new feature, and I was explaining it to my wife, and then my son chimes in from the back. He goes, "Daddy, you didn't read the directions?" And I'm like, "No, I didn't." I'm like, "Yeah, maybe I should have read the directions," but that's not how I operate. I operate by figuring things out. That's how I learn things, is by jumping in and just pushing buttons. So, and that's the way I've always been.
We men do.
Yes. Who needs directions? But yeah, so yeah, I know I don't have any idea when I hop into a car, or I just figure it out as I go.
Yep. But you got it to work, right?
I got it to work, and
There
it wasn't
you go.
anything like, yeah, and it wasn't like a feature that was like critical to the use of the car. It was just like ooh, that's cool that it does that kind of thing, So apparently I have a straight down camera on my bumper. Like, so I've got the cool backup camera that like shows you how far you are from things, but I also have one that goes straight down, so you see like the edge of your bumper. And I didn't know I had that until 3 days ago.
That is cool.
Yeah, that's cool.
I'm not good with the manuals on cars. I tend to just be like, I need to do what I need to do, and I can't deal with the rest of it. Mostly because when I'm in the car, I want to go there. Yeah, here we go again. Just start charging. Go ahead. Go where you're going.
Yeah, you'll figure it out as you drive. Like yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
You need
just
to know.
Don't do the Michael Scott where you hit the koi pond. You know what I mean? With the
okay, so I did learn to drive in Alaska. And Alaska had, at my time and where I was living, the benefit of, the side of the street. If I weren't steering very well, for example, it's full of snow. You just hit some soft snow and bounce off and keep going.
Like bumpers. That's cool.
Exactly. Bunker, berms, so it's all good. Just,
So that's where we need to send. So we need to send all our kids to Alaska to learn how to drive, and then have them come back. It's a thought. Things to ponder. So
yes. Like I said, it's not necessarily the best advice. If you have better advice, go for it.
The opinions we state here on the AV Life are not necessarily the best advice that you must follow, but we will give it to you on any certain occasion.
Yeah.
Little subtitle clause there that doesn't get us into trouble. So, all right. Well, thank you, Murphy. That's a good way. And I feel like that's how I kind of run the podcast sometimes. It's like, I don't know where we're going with this, but I'm going to get started and we'll see where it goes. So,
Hmm.
so all right. So this is Thursday, March 31st. So it's the last day of March. It's also, for those of you who are Parks and Rec fans, this is the 94 meetings day that Ron Swanson had. Yeah, because April Ludgate thought there was no March 31st. So she booked all of her appointments for Ron on March 31st, and 94 people showed up for meetings. But that's a Parks. Yeah, you're looking at me. Yeah, because she got the rhyme wrong. She thought it was, 30 days have.
Right.
I
Yeah,
forget how
I
she.
see that. No, I'm not.
She thought it was March.
I could see that. I could see that. I'm seeing that.
And I'll be honest, I never got the rhyme right either. So it's, but for me, I always did it by the fingers and knuckles.
Oh, that one. Yeah.
It's like,
that's
the knuckles and the valleys. Yeah, January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August, September, and October, November. Like it works with the knuckles of your hand.
That seems like an East Coast thing. But I
Yeah, I
mean, I
guess
know
so.
that it works, but it's not. I know the rhyme really well.
So yeah, there you go. So it's an East Coast, West Coast thing.
Maybe.
Yeah, Midwest. I've heard of both, and I've used.
See,
both.
there you go.
So merging. Yeah.
There you go. Yes, you are the glue that holds us together in the middle America there. So,
Yeah.
But so we just had the Oscars a few days ago, and as everyone is,
Have you heard?
Have you heard? If you haven't heard,
Yeah. I haven't heard. Please tell me. I've not.
Oh,
seen
you
that.
have not heard? Okay,
No.
so Chris Rock was your MC for the evening and was doing his opening monologue, and this is the very beginning of the night, and he's going through and like making his jokes about everybody, and then he makes a joke about Will Smith,
Like
and then
you do when
Jada,
you're Oscar host.
Yeah.
right, and then Jada is sitting right next to Will, and he makes a G.I. Jane comment about her buzzed head.
Yeah.
And for those of you who may or may not know, she has alopecia. And so she had her hair cut off for the reasons of that disease or condition, however you want to look at it. And he and Will kind of laughed a little bit at first, but then eventually went up to Chris Rock and like 5 fingers smacked him right in the face. And that was not organized that way. That was not what was supposed to, like, that's, it's not like a fake fight thing where it's like, oh, this is funny. Haha. No, because he got back to his seat and said, get my motherfucking wife's name out of your mouth. And yeah. So that
happened.
That actually happened. And then Will Smith ended up winning the Oscar that night anyhow too, so that made for an interesting
the speech,
and he gave the speech. Yeah. So so there's been a lot of buzz around this, just because it's like, did he go too far? Was Will being too sensitive? Like it I mean, so it's an interesting dynamic.
Somebody did a study of all the Twitter responses. Now, Twitter is I don't know, it's kind of a temperature gauge for places. So somebody did a Twitter data response of who was on the side of Chris Rock and who was on the side of Will Smith. And the vast majority of Americans are sympathetic with Chris Rock.
Interesting.
According to Twitter, which is totally crap, right? Although, please follow us. Anyway.
Well, yeah. Well, our stuff's not crap. So that's
yeah, right. We are the
hashtag the AV life, hashtag not crap.
Yes.
So.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly. Quality content.
There's this sort of belt of pro Will Smith people. It's kind of right around your neighborhood, David.
Oh, okay. Well,
I don't know.
Middle America.
Gotta represent. So Louisiana and I think Georgia, but then that little spot. I can't it's the middle. Let me see if I can get a better look at this. Yeah, like even just a shade west of Illinois and a little spot there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And except one large outlier, for God knows why, New Hampshire likes is pro. But it's just a little handful. It's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 states. That's it. That are more sympathetic to Will Smith.
So it's interesting because I've heard, so I actually on Twitter, I saw somebody make a comment to the regards of that, if you were Will Smith and you've gone through the last year that he's had between, everything with his wife and his life in general, it's like this was probably that moment that emotionally you snapped. Now I'm not excusing what he did. It's just, if you think about all the things that he is probably trying to compute in that moment, I mean, if you're trying to win back maybe not necessarily win back your wife, but to try to defend your wife's honor, to show how much she really does mean to you. I mean, again, I'm not saying what he did was right, because you are an adult actor, role model, however you want to look at it, in front of a live television audience. You don't go up and assault somebody mid show like that. Like that's like, you take that afterwards, so yeah.
I guess we got all the tolerance in the world on live television for promoting people who exercise violence. That would get a lot of people fired. Not him though. Not him though. He gets a speech.
Yeah. That's the other thing, is that, if that was somebody just randomly on the street that was making fun of, somebody else's significant other, they could have gotten arrested for that. That's assault. Like, it's like, so, and it's not, it's like, I don't know. This has been such a week for me personally as well. It's just, I just don't even have like the brain power at this point to like really compute the whole thing.
Let us say for a moment, let us have a thought experiment that this was an appropriate response, that these words came out of Chris Rock's mouth, and let us, for the purpose of this, just say that was a slapping offense. If it was a slapping offense, why wasn't Jada up there?
So you're saying that if Jada slapped him, right?
I'm saying if somebody needed slapping, shouldn't she defend her own honor?
That's a good point.
I'm like, hey, get on up there, kick off those whatever needle heel shoes you got up there, march up there, and you deliver the message that it's inappropriate, with the assumption in this little thought experiment that it was. I'm like, hey, there's this whole thing of like, oh, like he's walking up there taking care of what his woman feels. If she has feels, execute on your own feels, lady.
I understand what you're saying. Yeah. Like, would that have changed the optics of the whole situation too? Like, just playing devil's advocate.
It would definitely have increased the what do you call that? The contract on how much she would have made on G.I. Jane 2.
Yeah.
It's like, yes, we need to make that one. Let's do it.
The whole situation is just so weird because, like, there's all the history with Will and Jada, right? And TV's always edited, so you always have to have that with a grain of salt. But apparently what they said is that Will Smith laughed at the joke first, and then Jada, like, he saw Jada and saw she responded negatively, and then he acted, right? Which is interesting. Like, it makes it look like it was premeditated, like he reacted but he thought like he had a moment to think about it, like, oh, this is bad, and then reacted and slapped Chris Rock, right? But it's just weird to think. And then Chris, Chris could have reacted too and slapped him back or hit him or something, but he didn't. So he showed a lot of restraint, not
Yeah.
hitting him.
He did, I thought.
Yeah. But
It
you know
is
what? As
not
as a
okay to slap people who are not hurting you.
yeah.
Who are not physically hurting you. This is not okay. This violence thing, not okay. And glorifying it like, oh, well, then this, I mean, he had feelings so he could slap people. Oh, are we going to have that? Oh.
And I'm gonna say, as a married man, we've all been there. We've all laughed at something that we probably shouldn't have, and we looked over at our wife and gone, "Oh, yeah, that was bad. I shouldn't have laughed at that." Or so not that I'm looking to defend Will, but at the same time, I understand the quick like I've laughed at that, and then it'd be like, oh, I need to go yes, I was wrong. She's not laughing either, so let me gonna address this situation.
If that whole thing had like that, the walk up and the slap had been cut out, and the verbal response had been the only response, keep my wife's name out of your mouth, we wouldn't be having talks about this. This would be far more appropriate. If he was so upset, he could have use your words. That would have been scandalous, but not criminal.
Yeah.
The interesting thing is that if the video clip from Japan or wherever, or Australia or whatever, if without the internet, we would have never known about that other audio. We would have never gotten the audio from that, or like not as quickly as we did. Like literally, it was that night or like the next morning. That's like, oh, here's the Australian clip where they didn't take out the audio, so you got to hear like that, like how.
I heard it the day of, because I certainly wasn't watching. I just saw somebody on Twitter or on Instagram saying, "Oh my gosh, what just happened?" I'm like, "What did just happen?" And then Twitter told me the scandal.
Within that same hour, which is crazy because like look at how far taking this back to AV and technology, like look at how far the technology has gone. Where like back in the day, they would just have like cut it, and then it just would have happened off camera, and it's like we'll be right back after this break or something like that. But now, because the technology is so good with cameras and everything is so instant and picks it up, like you can't hide that stuff. Like it comes out on the internet, which is crazy. Yeah.
I don't know if something has happened since, but I would really like to see a condemnation of violence. There should be a condemnation of violence. Oh my gosh. Here we go. There is a story in a part of the story in War and Peace. Okay. I like to read books, right? So Tolstoy, War and Peace, that one of the main characters, he marries this woman, and he's like, he marries her for political reasons, and he's not really sure he should marry her because he's like a nobleman, whatever, lord, whatever. And he marries this woman, and she is like beautiful in the right position, but he doesn't really love her. So it's like, what do we do? And what happens is she, being a climber, ends up having an affair with two other men, and all the people in the social circle that they're in are arguing about which of the two people she's having an affair with will she end up staying with. You're missing the point, people. She shouldn't be cheating on her husband, but she orchestrated it. So the scandal was not, and the interesting bit was not that she was having an affair. She's like, let's double down and have two and make everybody argue about the merits of one or the other. I don't care what Jada did or didn't do. I don't care what Will felt or didn't feel about it. You're not allowed to hit people. You're not allowed to hit a man is not allowed to hit his wife. A man's not allowed to go hitting other people for that sort of thing. Violence is not okay. Don't do that. This is not what we should be celebrating. And don't argue about, well, how did he feel? And I don't know, in the academy. And like, you're missing the point. Base level don't hit people. We teach our children that. We don't tolerate it amongst other people. So I'm done. I've said it.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Yeah, they should have taken him off stage and been like, all right, well, you're kicked out of the event, and then that would have been a very strong,
we can't. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I know Will Smith has come out and apologized, and that's all been done, but what's been done has been done. And the unfortunate part of this is that, I mean, don't get me wrong, I love all the memes I see on Facebook and Twitter and everything like that. They're all hysterical.
Jokes. Jokes.
Right.
Remember that whole beginning of the joke? Okay.
Yeah. But it's overshadowed other things that have happened at that event. Like, for instance, Lady Gaga and Liza Minnelli, when they came out to introduce or to do their award, Liza had a moment because she's suffering with Alzheimer's dementia as Tony Bennett, and so Lady Gaga is very familiar with what needs to be done in those sort of situations. And I guess Liza, from what I'm understanding and what I'm reading and I've seen, is that Liza was having a tough time getting ready for that. And you hear Lady Gaga lean over to her and go, "I got you," like very comforting. And and then she looks up at her and goes, "I know." And like it was just a heartwarming moment that, from someone like myself who's seen what Alzheimer's can do to someone over the years, like it's a debilitating disease, and to see that level of care and concern and support is absolutely amazing. And because of what happened at the very beginning of the night, that has basically taken a back seat. I've seen a couple friends post the article on Facebook just because they're like, everyone else needs to see this because this happened as well, and it's and then like Billie Eilish or Eilish, whatever you say her last name, like she's the youngest to get a Grammy, an Oscar, and a Golden Globe, and she's also the first to win an Oscar from those who were born in the 2000s. It's like, so like that is incredible, like on so many levels, that it gives some good faith for like the younger generation, that's out there. David, I'm wrapping you into that because you're the youngest here. So,
all right. I'm the resident millennial on the podcast, so I accept
exactly.
It.
So, so yeah, there was a lot of good that happened in that event, but because of what happened at the very beginning, it overshadowed like everything else.
Okay. Were you watching it, Tim?
I did not. I will be honest, I did not watch the event. So no.
David, were you
I caught all the stuff afterwards.
Yeah. Were you watching?
I will admit that I did not watch it live, but I saw it like probably 15 minutes after it happened. I saw the news that came out.
Right. So my friend, who's same age as me, was watching it and tweeting about it on Instagram, and I saw that, and I'm like, oh, then I got on it. But there's an argument to be made that movie stars, because they are so accessible to us all and we can find out about what toilet paper they're using, like that, we broke it. We broke the glamour of Hollywood. And it's like we're going to have to make something new to be what that has been. People aren't watching. I don't know what people were. It's just kind of trending down. People aren't watching these award shows, and they're not showing up, and I could think about a lot of reasons why. I don't like the tolerance for violence that was given to somebody who is one of their elite, I guess. Like, but that's like part of it. Like, hey, are we breaking? This might be just the rubble, the smoking remains of once was a glamorous tradition.
I mean, that's interesting. I was I don't remember, I was listening to a podcast that was talking about it, and like, like they were talking about how you have all these TikTok stars and YouTube stars that's like people who are younger, like even and younger than me, like the Gen Z generation,
Mm.
they all want to be TikTok stars or YouTube stars. And what was the equivalent of that before social media? It was, oh, I want to be a famous actor, or like a famous actress. And it's just weird because like Hollywood, and this is a whole other thing and maybe way too off topic, but there's a changing landscape there because of Netflix and Hulu and how that's changing the movie making process. And like Hollywood is constantly fighting this new media, and it's there's that. And then I think because of social media and like you guys are saying, like all that access, people are seeing things differently that no one had access to before, like the whole Free Britney movement, right? Like 20 years ago, no, we couldn't see inside what was going on with their life, and now you can see everything and the conservatorship and all that stuff. And so it's just maybe people just didn't see celebrities in the way they see them now, and that's changed the way the public perceives them. So
And
Yeah.
I
No,
wonder how that's gonna like that's that that's gonna have a change on how people expect to interface and regard famous people.
yeah,
TikTokers are YouTubers are more famous than movie stars to
Yeah.
my 13-year-old.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. My 7-year-old, Unspeakable from YouTube is like his main actor. Like, it's like this is the guy he goes and watches the latest videos for, So um, but yeah, it's interesting and I think COVID had a big impact on that as well. As
yeah,
people
Yeah.
pulled out of the movie theaters and pulled into their homes, they started consuming media in a different way. All the streaming services went up to like tenfold. I think, for Apple Plus and for a bunch of the other like new, I'm saying new streaming services, that compounded what they were already more than what they were expecting to happen, because everyone was home and everyone was getting everything digitally into their homes. So why spend the money and why, pay these theaters to release, or, why the theaters pay but why pay people to run movie theaters when you can
I could also
be at
talk
home?
about I could also talk about the quality of the stuff that's coming out. Straight up just movies, okay? The quality of current movies in the theater. As a writer, these stories are very, very tired and not compelling.
yeah,
They're very tired, not compelling. They're
Mhm.
massively predictable. They're like, it's like, oh, well, we all agree on certain things which are allowed to be said. Apparently, slapping people is not allowed, but it is allowed. Anyway,
Mhm.
violence, all that stuff. But like the strict messages of what has to be said, the certain cast of characters, these certain types of stories, we will allow this, we won't allow this. It's really tired and it's not compelling. People are not surprised. I'm like, what? You're going to make a bigger explosion that's louder and people will say, wow, I didn't see that one coming. The
Don't
sophisticatedness
don't
is
question
gone.
Michael Bay with his explosions.
It's all he's always got. I like explosions, but I'm like, hey, I want actually characters that go through transformation. I want
Mhm.
to go see somebody that makes me want to be a better person.
I'm tired of I'm tired of the reboots. Honestly, it's like, go find a new story. It's like, I
If
don't need
they
a
were
reboot.
rebooted,
yeah.
they were
Reboots,
good,
requels.
but they suck. So you know what? How many old movies do we have on streaming services? I could go watch Humphrey Bogart forever and never go to a movie theater again. Could go watch all
Hmm.
the old movies because they're better.
Hmm.
So I'm like, you guys are giving us, you guys, the entertainment systems are giving us, and we're not even getting into music. That's a whole nother thing. Billie Eilish, well, anyway. But getting us
Well,
good
yeah,
quality, high quality with subtlety and layers and something that makes me think about it for a long time. That's what good stories do. And
Mhm.
it's not compelling.
Yeah, We could have a full. We should actually plan for that, about a whole cinema and the what's the state of the cinema episode.
Cool.
So my
I'd
13-year-old.
like to be a guest on that. So
Oh yeah.
I will.
We
Yes,
can
I
have a
will have
crowd.
you.
please.
We'll plan for that to have you on, David. We'll get some. Maybe we'll get some. Oh, I'll bring in the guy. It's funny. On at Rutgers, we have a first run movie theater on campus, and the theater manager, Alex, who he's getting a shout out on the podcast. He keeps asking me when I'm going to have him on the podcast. Well,
Okay.
that's going to be his
Could
move. That's
be.
going to be his shot. So.
Okay.
So
Well,
we'll
I
have
was going
to.
to
We'll
say
figure that.
about the
Good.
music. My 13-year-old, for the last year or two, she doesn't listen to the radio. Well, she does when we're in the car, but the music that is new to her for the most part is what she calls meme music. And the meme
Oh
music,
God. Yeah.
well, the meme music that she likes best tends to be from the 80s.
Mm-hmm.
And she's like, oh wait, I know that song. I'm like, how do you know that song? Oh, it's behind a meme. So she's into Hall & Oates, she's into the Beatles, she's into ELO. That's my kid. And we're like, well, if you like that, what do you think of this? I since she liked the Beatles, I said, what do you think of the Mamas and the Papas? She's like, oh, that's pretty good. Because there's nothing on radio.
Well, that's my son gets his music from, if it's from YouTube videos, or it's from parodies of songs that he then goes, oh, I really like this song. And I'm like, yeah, but that's not the original. He says, what? Yeah, it's like, this is the original. And it's like, well, let me introduce you to my friend Weird Al if you want to learn about parodies.
Did you see that cool thing he did for Eric Idle? If you haven't seen it, go find his happy birthday video. It was really cute. I think it was yesterday. Eric
I heard
Idle's a
about that. I haven't
Python
watched
guy.
it.
Yeah, check it out. It was
Oh,
pretty good.
I'll have to go check that out. Yeah.
Yeah.
I
All
don't
you
know
people
if any of you
on
knew this.
podcast land, go search happy birthday from Weird Al.
I am a Weird Al super fan, which is surprising, but I love Weird Al. I've seen him live. That's one of the best live shows I've ever been to. I'm not gonna lie. Like, he is great. He's a great performer. He plays the whole catalog. It's awesome. Sorry, I just had to throw that in there.
That's good to know.
That's okay. He's on tour right now. I think he's on tour right now, and he's doing all like the lesser known, like not parody. Yeah, like he's doing the ones that aren't covers of actual song, or like parodies of actual songs. He's doing the stuff that is his original content. So that's what this whole tour, like, this is the super fan tour, as it would be.
Wow.
So
I'm gonna go. I'll get tickets.
There you go. Yeah. I should. Yeah. I was like, oh yeah, there you go. Plug for Weird Al on the AV Life. There. I'll have to tag him on the post. Is like, yeah, you got to plug for your tour on our podcast.
Yeah.
So, well, yeah. So before we get too far, and we've already taken like a good half hour on all this, all the excitement. We're gonna pull out one. We'll pull out one of the firing range articles. No, we're not gonna take the big spider one. I'm gonna tell you right now, we're not doing that one.
Go Google it yourself, podcast listeners.
Go. Spider. For those of us here on the East Coast, go Google the what was this? What are they calling it? What's the name of the spider?
You thought the murder hornets were exciting. Just to wait till what comes
next. I know. And now I can't find the name. It's like a Jora spider or something like that. It's a 3-inch spider that's supposed to be making its way here. It's in Georgia right now. Go find that.
But it flies, which is the creepy bit.
Yeah. Okay. Anyway,
but that's not
what we're going to talk about. We're not talking about that. We are going to talk about a neuroscientist who is pondering whether people remain conscious after having their heads chopped off. As if we really need to go any further into the violence of everything right now. But this is that deep thought of, is that flash of your life going before your eyes, like, is that actually your brain doing those last minute processing before you
life flashing before your eyes?
Yes. Is that what's happening? Is that what's happening there? And
Like, wait,
yeah,
I've
how
only
long
got
can
up to the last. I still have a decade to go. I can't die yet.
like let's
My life is flashing.
go.
We're not up to today.
So this cognitive neuroscience professor from Bangor University has first started wondering about the concept when he learned about the use of the guillotine during the French Revolution when he was 15 years old.
Yes.
Yes.
That's the story I know. The
Late Madame Guillotine. Yes. Let's for those who have seen the Scarlet Pimpernel. Let's see. The brain essentially dies, then deterioration reaches a point of no return, and core consciousness, our ability to feel that we are here and now, and to recognize the thoughts we have our own is lost. Yeah, this is the whole running around with its chicken with its head cut off. Like, are we
okay?
So they're saying 6, 7, 8, 10 minutes, maybe. That seems to be kind of where the ballpark is. Now, is this
has implications, because 6 minutes is a long time. If you have like those jars, because we all have to like have the liquid that we can stick the head in the jar and the person stays alive, right?
Are we going Futurama on this? Is this what we're doing?
The Hall of
Futurama? Yeah.
Yeah. And then it's 6 minutes. That's forever. You need to have like a good sharp knife in your house. Like, okay, he's dead, but stick his head in the jar, and Uncle Bill will live forever and stare at you.
Yes. It's like, forget about keeping ashes on your mantle. Forget about keeping ashes on your mantle. You're now going to keep the watered heads of all your past relatives bubbling around.
I'm just saying, we need to finalize this technology.
I mean, I kind of there's got to be something to this, because what your brain is functioning on electrical signals. There's neurons, and all your nerve endings are firing and things like that. So think of it like when you have a lamp that's running like an LED or a fluorescent bulb, and you pull the plug out of the wall. You still have that little bit of light that gradually goes out. So there's something there, I think. I mean, it's that few minutes of leftover life before death. It's like it's the Miracle Max. It's the Miracle Max. It's the Miracle Max thing. There's a difference between all dead and mostly dead. You're mostly dead at that point, so you're still partly alive. So it's to bluff. Yeah. No, he's saying true love. It's like, no, he must owe somebody some money. Go through his pockets and look for loose change. And it's like, anyway.
Yeah. Well, don't they?
But yeah, I mean,
go ahead. Sorry.
Go ahead, David.
Oh, don't they say like when you die that you do, like, taking this in the whole other direction, but like you release all of your bodily fluids at the point of death, and like that's like they say that's like a release of like all your functions, but like during that process, like is that when your brain shuts off? But I feel like your brain or some kind of neurons are still working when that process happens, and then lights out. You know what I mean? I don't know. Just throwing that out there.
So it's that shutdown, like your Windows machine that's taking forever to shut down, essentially.
Exactly. And then it just crashes, And
then it crashes. It's like, no updates found. Boom. Oh, the blue screen. Oh. That's what it would be like for me. I feel like it's like, here's all this jumbled text, and then that's it. Lights out. I'd be okay with like the little, like, that spark in the center with the line across the center of the screen, like the tube just went out.
That's some old school stuff.
Sad Mac. I'd like to report an issue to God that my brain is shut down. It's like,
did you try unplugging it and plugging it back?
Plugging it back.
That's what God would say.
Wasn't that what they essentially did with RoboCop? Like they took the brain and the spine out, and they put it in the robot.
And watch that. I've never seen that, and people tell me that I'm in it.
You're in it?
Well, someone named Murphy.
Oh, yes. Yes.
Yeah, I
There is
didn't
a
know.
Murphy in that movie. Yes.
Mhm.
I didn't watch there was a reboot of that, wasn't it? Speaking of reboots, wasn't there a reboot of that?
Yeah, I think so. I've never
Mm,
seen the reboot. I've seen
I
the
only saw the
original.
original. Yeah. I saw the original and the second one, RoboCop 2. And that, yeah. See, again, didn't need to, if it was rebooted, didn't need to be rebooted, honestly. And that just shows how forgettable the reboot was.
With that as a principle that we are just now acknowledging, the reboot is usually not worth it. Does this apply to my idea of saving the head in a jar? Is that like the reboot that we
Mm.
shouldn't do?
Like a human reboot.
Yeah, like let it
Interesting. Okay.
go.
No, that's more like, okay, so I would think the reboot is more like, oh, you know what series I've been watching with my wife? Upload on Amazon.
That's a fun one.
And one of the things was the guy, so I'm probably gonna spoil it for somebody, but it's
Watch out.
applicable to here.
Spoiler alert.
So they have the technology to recreate a body, like that, to rebuild it like on the cellular level, like a clone essentially, and re-download your consciousness into this body. That would be a reboot, I feel
Right.
like.
And
Whereas
yeah.
saving the head in a glass jar is just kind of a continuation.
Yeah. I don't know. Yeah.
It's like holding
So
down the pedal on the piano to make the notes last a little bit longer, you know? Yes.
yeah,
Expand.
sustain is what they call that.
Yeah, I'm
Sustain.
sorry,
That's the
sustain.
Yeah.
word.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you. I didn't
Yeah.
play the piano. I played cello and trombone. So I was a bass clef guy.
Nice. When you sustain a note, though, over time, it weakens the note, so it's not as strong of a signal. So, you can
Hmm.
preserve the head, but maybe your brain won't be as strong the longer you preserve it. So then it won't function as it would.
Eventually you'll just nod off to sleep
Okay, now we're getting
on
very
this.
dark. This is
Yeah. Sorry,
okay.
that's my problem. I
All right,
go too dark on these.
yeah,
So
we took it
It's
in a
good,
dark
but
direction there.
uh-oh. Uh-oh.
back to Will
Or
Smith.
back to Will Smith. we could do the whole Frankenstein. We could do the whole Frankenstein look of it, with the, taking the brain and putting it into, a whole nother body of parts. Abby normal brain, if to go to young Frankenstein.
Yeah. Let me ask you guys a question. If
Mhm.
you could have your brain put into another body, what body would you put your brain into?
Hmm.
It's a good question, right?
John Malkovich.
Okay.
I don't know.
I like
It's
that.
funny because you brought up that, and then I started thinking about the movie being John Malkovich, and that's why I thought
Yeah.
about that.
It's a good movie.
I don't know, who would I want to.
Well, see,
Do I
this brings
keep?
up
Do I have my own abilities, or do I have the abilities of the person I'm going into?
It's the Frankenstein. So you have your brain, but you have their body.
so their body is
Your
going to
brain, their body.
influence your brain. So like if their body is a body that like I actually am a body that likes Pepsi, not Coke.
Hmm.
I don't know.
Interesting.
Interesting. Yeah.
Which could also like I like not the person who was my wife.
You're not physically attracted to. Yeah, I guess you would have your same brain, like your thoughts, but your physical body reactions would be whatever person you
Of
choose.
that person, yeah, because you'd be able to
Yeah.
operate it like a, yeah.
See, that's
Like if
that's a total
I'd be
illustration. Like somebody's
I'd be
going
Will
to
Smith.
say
I'd be Will
before or
Smith
after the slap.
before to stop the
Okay.
slap. It's like
I
contain
like that
myself. It's
idea.
like, don't do it.
like Terminator, go back and stop the slap.
And then I'll go back to my body and let him take over from there.
Whoa.
Then transplant me back, put me back
Whoa.
afterwards.
Alternative history.
No, I'd probably want to be like Shaq or something like that. I want to be like a basketball player.
Yeah, or Dwayne the Rock Johnson or something, being really
Oh,
good
there you
shape.
go. Yeah. Brock Lesnar, like give me the guns, it's like this.
Hashtag give me the guns. That's
Give me the
hashtag.
guns. Yeah.
Wow.
What about you, Murphy?
I'm having a lot of thoughts about the way the body actually. I don't think the mind and the body are as separate as that. I mean, it's you know, it's kind of like, that's tough. I can't imagine that being the physical reality of my selfness is very I actually wrote a little essay about, because I think I talked about it last time. I kind of jacked up my elbows, and I was talking about and the essay that I wrote was about pain isn't just pain. Pain has a friend, weakness, that comes along with. And I don't even know what that exactly means in this context, but it's like our body isn't just so terribly separate. It does actually influence our mind in ways, and I don't know. I'm
well, I agree.
oh,
I think there's I mean, there's something to that. Like, I think, you know, if you have injury or something like that, I think being in the right state of mind helps with the repair, with the recovery, you know, and keeping that mindset. So yeah, I that makes total sense to me, Murphy. So I agree with you that there is a connection to the mind and body, you know. So
complicated.
Yeah.
We're awesome. We're this amazing, fantastic system. Actually, this is what I'm thinking. You know, in our GI tract, mostly the intestines. Sorry to be gross. There's a whole lot of living beings, the flora and the fauna. And I've read some things about how those are like not us. They're like little bacteria and animals inside of us that help us eat our food, digest our food, and get the nutrients from the food. And that's a living thing. And I read somewhere that somebody said it's enough material that it probably came from the food that we eat, and it's like it grows in there like a little garden. That it's enough actual like weight. If you took all of that material, it would be the same weight as one of the other organs in your body. So it's like its own self, but it's separate from you, but it is you. So
they got like, really deep.
I know. But and because of these little bugs inside you actually really affect your mood. Like whether you're happy. And that there's a whole lot of situation going on about who you are because of these things that aren't even you. So like all of the things that come into our life, I know my mood is totally affected by whatever book I'm reading. And I will have a better day if I'm reading the right sort of book. So that's me. Books mean a lot to me. And so like other things, you know, music is easy to say. That's a very visceral, you know, like I will be in a better mood if I listen to this type of music, or you've probably done that. Like you have like you're angry, so you want to listen to something really angry and work it through in the music, you know, or the feeling catalog that you got to have that stuff. So it's like all these experience and thoughts and who we are as people. It's not just like, oh, we are one thing and we never change. Like, no, it's always in this flux. It's super cool and we're complicated. And I love that about people.
Well, and they say also that like from a cellular level that every 7 years you're a fresh set of cells. So, you know, it's so every 7 years you are literally a brand new person. So even though you may not feel it. I know there's some days I don't feel it. So, all right, we'll leave you with those parting thoughts of your mind and your body and the morality of what that is, you know. And so
I would like to also just say, don't slap people.
Yeah, but we'll go back to what we've always said over the course of the last like 2 years. Is like be kind. Just be nice.
Be kind. Yes.
Be kind, be nice. Be kind, rewind. No, I'm just kidding. Wait, no, not that. We don't need to rewind anymore. So anyway. So hey, David, thank you for joining us again tonight.
Thanks, David.
Yeah, no problem. It was fun. It's been a while, so I'm glad I was able to come back, and I'm excited for the next time I come back on the show.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah,
yeah.
I'm sure. Well, hey, if you end up at Infocom, I mean, we'll see if we could seek you out over there. I have booked my flight, so I'm very excited for that. I am officially going, so I will be there, and I'm staying at the Westgate along with like all the other higher ed folks.
All the cool
So
people.
that's where all the cool people. That's where all the cool kids are going. So I always wanted to sit at the cool kids table.
Yay.
I'm the geek. I'm the geek that would get himself kicked out. Like, why do we bring this guy here? I was like,
higher ed AV club.
yes, exactly. So now it's cool to be in the AV club.
Yeah.
So hopefully you'll be joining us, and hopefully some of our listeners out there will be joining us as well. And Murphy, glad you were able to make it with us tonight, and we hope, like I said before, I hope our the rest of our crew is doing all right tonight. And I know Joe Way is probably doing some vendor management right now, so we'll let him keep doing that. He does have an article in regard to vendor management at higheredav.com. He's not here to plug himself, but I'll plug it for him because it's a really good article. So go out, take a listen, to go read. You have to read that one. That's an article. Just like we were talking about with Murphy. It's like reading, like, start your day with some good reading. That's some good reading. So, all right. So until our next adventure, everyone,